Hello, welcome to Dr. O's Food Lab. This video is providing us some information on a staple diet in a number of African countries. It has different names in different regions of that continent, but most people call it gari. And this particular video is showing a particular product where the gari has been fortified with a mixture of soya beans, and this is to improve the nutritional content so that it's not just all carbs or carbohydrates. Gari is a relatively simple food product to convert to what we call eba. For those of you who are familiar with eba, you have a variety of soup and stew to match with this delicacy to your taste. The unique part of this video today is showing someone who has never prepared gari or converted gari into eba, how to make this and end up with a reasonable consistency or finish their product. I'm going to use this cup, which is a quarter cup, and I will have 4 of this in the basin or in the pot, and then mix it with water until it forms a paste. So this is 1. I'll fill that to the brim. This is 2. So that's the second cup. So I'm already at half a cup, and I'll put the third. Okay, and I'm going to stop at this portion, which will give us about 3/4 of a standard cup, so it should be 6 ounces. Then I proceed to just pour cold water, and the reason why we put cold water is it's easy to dictate the final consistency of the eba, and I will stir this in that cold water until it forms a paste. So even with what we have here, which is about 3/4 of a cup or 6 ounces, this will amount to about 270 calories in just its watery form. What I then do at this point is to transfer this pot and the gari format onto a stove and start to work on it until it becomes firm and gets transformed into eba. There's one added advantage to preparing eba in this format using cold water. Before transferring the pot onto the stove, I was able to sift the gari by pouring excess water on top and then letting the sediment rise to the top, which I then tipped over, and then I'm left with a much cleaner top surface of the gari, which I can then turn to eba. It's not uncommon to have a few sediments on top of your gari, especially if you prepare it the way I'm demonstrating in this video. So we'll just then set the stove to a simmer level. So as you can slowly watch the gari in the cold form slowly being transformed into eba. This approach also helps you to have the food cook uniformly and reduces the amount of work in terms of preparation. And you can see this particular eba slowly forming into paste. In this instance, you can see me sprinkle some extra gari to increase the stiffness of the finished product, and then I'll just mix that into the rest of the product. It may take a few more minutes for that to be incorporated, and then you can see how the consistency is slowly changing, and you can then depending on your preference, in my case I like it not to be too hard, and I'll then stir in the rest of that powder. So in effect I would have ended up using the 4 quarter cups. So if you see the final consistency of this product, this is about an ideal consistency that I prefer, and depending on your preference you may actually go for a little more stiff form of eba. And all you need to do is just pour in a little extra powder, that way you don't actually have to accept what you're not going to be happy with, and it's uniformly stirred. It's much easier to make, and that's enough for 2 people, assuming that you're going to have other things in your stew or your soup to mix with it. And that's a simplified way of making eba. I hope you've learned a trick or two from this. Enjoy.